financial services industry is the backbone of modern society. It's the engine room of the global economy. And as a result of that, it's absolutely imperative that these organisations stay secure, resilient and efficient. I'm Marc Davis, Principal Solutions Consultant working at Zscaler in the UK. And I'm here today to tell you about how Zscaler has become the trusted technology partner for some of the biggest and most important FSI brands on the planet. At Zscaler, we speak to a lot of financial services organisations, some well established in the market and some new entrants to the market. Whilst they've all got very different and unique requirements, there are some common goals and common threads that we see across all of them. They all need to be secure and compliant by design. They're all looking to empower their people to succeed. And of course, they're looking to modernise and innovate, looking to the future. But, this sounds achievable, doesn't it? But sadly, there are a number of headwinds that are slowing them down. And these headwinds really do manifest in one thing. And that one thing is complexity. Now let's get into it. We'll start with architectural complexity. FSI organisations have almost been spoilt in the past. They've been able to go out and they've been able to purchase the best of breed technologies, many point products to solve specific challenges. However, this does come at a cost, obviously, and these products are all not necessarily designed to work together. So you have a bit of a sprawling mess. Then if you throw into the mix, you have to duplicate that technology stack across the globe. If you're a global organisation, you've got regional data centres, they all need to talk to one another. Complicated and expensive connectivity. You then need to plumb these data centres into your application estate, and your users obviously need to have connectivity to that rather vast attack surface that seems to be developing. Not to mention third parties as well. And multiple vendors means multiple endpoint agents. And this all rolls back down to the user experience. At home, users are spoilt because they just open their laptop, they turn on their iPad and everything just works. Whereas when they come to the office, it's not quite as simple as that. Things are slow, things are difficult to get done, and ultimately productivity takes a hit. Next is lack of visibility and control. Now, with data scattered across user devices, data centers, cloud and web, it's really quite challenging for organisations to keep track of where the data is, where the data's been, and who's got access to the data. Particularly with financial services, you throw into the mix some very specific high-risk users. We're talking brokers, traders, people that have got access to very sensitive information, but people that are absolutely critical to those organisations in terms of doing their job. Therefore, there is an element of accountability and auditability that is needed for those users that is very specific. So then when you talk about regulation, the likes of GDPR is prevalent, and then more recently, DORA and NIS2 from a cyber resilience perspective. There's a lot of pressure for financial services organisations to comply, and the implications if they don't are significant. We're talking large fines, we're talking serious reputational damage, and ultimately financial services is built around trust, and if that goes, then so do your customers. And thirdly, operational pressures. Now, budgets are tight. Organisations are no longer taking the approach of buying best of breed to solve problems. They're having to make do with what they've got, make the best of what they've got. Change is deemed as risky, so the status quo wins. However, new entrants to the market, the fintechs and the insurtechs of the world, they're not bound by the same legacy as the more established players. They don't have these data centers. However, they're able to consume cloud services as they were designed, but they're not immune to the challenges around data protection and security. And on top of that, there is a cyber skills gap, and it is a very real thing. SOC teams are overwhelmed by firefighting. They're understaffed, they're overworked, and they are getting alerts from all angles. I mean, who wants to work in an environment like that? So attracting the top talent is really difficult, let alone keeping them. And let's not forget, FSI needs to be always on. And DORA has brought the topic of digital resilience all the way up to the boardroom, and it's now very much a priority for all FSI, CIOs and CISOs. Downtime equals failed trades, failed payments, and ultimately lost reputation and potentially lost customers. So to sum up, complexity is the common thread, and high complexity means high risk. So how can Zscaler help? Well, our Zero Trust Exchange platform has been cloud native from day one. It's the largest security cloud in the world. We're not bound by legacy baggage, so there's no bolt-ons and there's no compromises. The antidote to complexity is, of course, simplicity. But simplicity isn't about dumbing things down, it's about making order of the chaos. And as we've seen today, there was an awful lot of chaos. So let's get into it. So firstly, we simplify and future-proof your architecture. Zscaler has got 150 data centers globally, so we have security close to your users. Your users simply connect in to their nearest Zscaler data center, and they're able to then connect through the Zero Trust Exchange to anything they need to. We have a single enforcement point, okay, and a single set of policies that are all designed to work together. So no more scattered and complex configurations. In terms of integration, at Zscaler, we don't admit to being able to do everything, and diversity in your security stack is still recommended, although not to the level that you've probably had in the past. So therefore, we're able to integrate with your trusted technology partners for things like identity and access management, so you get the best of all worlds. And what about your users? Well, less technology vendors equals a more simplistic endpoint, and a more simplistic endpoint means users can now open their laptops and just work securely. And secondly, we close the visibility gap. Zscaler gives you 360-degree visibility on what's going on in your environment. We have one user interface for admin purposes. We have one API for automation. We're able to pull granular statistics from the platform on a per user, per transaction basis, all powered by AI and ML, of course. We provide a full audit trail with remediations to help you get that compliance from DORA, NIS2 and GDPR. And thirdly, Zscaler helps you drive that operational excellence. Moving from that reactive firefighting mindset to a forward-thinking, proactive mindset. Your users and the cloud can now work together in harmony. And that operating rhythm, that repeatability, then means that operations, and particularly the SOC, can actually go about their day job with confidence. Change windows open up for actual innovation, launching new products, entering new markets, progressing your business. Also, the topic of mergers, acquisitions and divestitures is very big in the FSI space, and Zscaler's modular architecture allows you to simply divest a business at the appropriate time, or even onboard a new business very quickly in a manageable way. Ultimately, Zscaler can help you from just keeping the lights on to actually innovating and planning for the future to be that market leader you've always dreamt of. So let's go back to those original goals. So with Zscaler by your side, they look a lot more achievable now, don't they? So secure and compliant by design, absolutely. Empowering people to succeed, we're certainly able to do that. And modernisation and innovation is pretty much what we do in a nutshell. There is a reason, after all, why Zscaler has got 13 of the top 15 banks in the Forbes Global 2000 in our customer list. So if anything I've said today has struck a chord, then please reach out, let's talk. You might be surprised about how we can help you. Thanks for watching.